We got
Can't
4
waste
people,
any minute.
5 people,
No wasting.
6 people.
No wasting the film.
7, 8, 9, 10.
We're live.
So basically, someone's just watching this while she counts. Just keep counting. It's kind of
11.
soothing. Just
7.
It's like watching one of those
18.
ASMR videos.
Max Stevens says yo.
Hey,
Hey, Steven.
That's crazy. That's his name.
Oh.
That's my middle name. Yeah, Max Stevens.
Max Stevens 1.
All right. Okay. So let's just jump into some questions. It's what is it about? Almost noon? Is it 11? I don't know what time.
It's like 11, 20.
11:19.
Well, thanks for coming this early. Is it early for you? The generic thing would be like, bands sleep until 2, you know, but are you guys usually awake?
We're from
at
California, so it's 8:20.
Oh, wow, so even earlier.
Yeah.
So that's why you went for the coffee and not the beer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right, you literally flew into
Last night.
Crazy.
Yeah.
When did you land?
Midnight.
12:30.
Where are you staying?
My parents have an apartment, so we're staying there.
Go to Manhattan. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all 4 of us sharing 2 beds.
That's nice. Wow. Oh, yeah, that's
It's
cool.
pretty normal.
Are they like bunk beds and you like throwing stuff
No,
down?
Actually, Cole's on the couch. And
Seb
then
gets his own bed.
Seb gets his own room, and
Yeah.
Max and I share.
We share it like on tour, so
We do have bunk bed cots that we bring on tour with us.
Ah, that's pretty good.
Where did we buy them again? We bought them from
Cabela's.
Really? That's
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Can you just keep piling them up and make it like
Probably
25
good.
minutes?
Technically, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know about how.
They're not the most
safe that is.
comfortable.
Yeah.
They're not the most comfortable things on earth.
So okay, so it's not touring. It's not like you played last year. Not a tour or anything. This is a
We just
fly to
finished
New
a
York
tour.
and
We
okay.
toured. Last show was on Sunday
Oh yeah, we're at.
in Fresno, which is a random part of California, but it's a good, very important part of California.
Why is it so important for our California?
Because they're all, it's like farmland and skating, and so
And
there's
homicide.
actually a big music scene.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of a crappy part of California, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids complaining about a lot of stuff.
Do they farm while they skate and like it's like?
Skateboard fields, yeah, beach ball.
So how was the show anyway? It was fun apparently, probably, right?
It was cool. Actually, it was just us playing it because they got sick. So
Oh,
they went home and we just played with our guitars.
Oh really?
But
Yeah,
the
we
whole
kind of girl pooled it.
the whole tour was
Nice.
the whole tour was great. We just did a West Coast run. We're coming through here in about a month.
Yeah,
We're
have
here
you
in early
come
March.
through? Have you come through the East Coast?
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah.
times.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we're doing a tour with the Frights February through April.
Yeah, we come through New York City early March. Webster Hall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that like a headlining deal or are you?
Yeah.
Wow,
We'll
cool.
be in the downstairs.
Right.
Yeah,
that's good.
studio.
Yeah, we played there before. It's really cool.
Have you gone through the South, the Midwest, everything, or just mainly the
We've
coast?
done the Midwest.
Not the South.
This is our first tour going south.
Yeah.
I'm having my 21st birthday in Atlanta.
Oh, nice. That's a good place to have.
That's
a fun
it.
time.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people have told me.
Yeah, yeah. She was worried too. Jessica was like, I don't know, can they have beer? Are they old enough? Pretty sure they're old
He's the
enough to have
oldest. He's
beer.
the oldest one,
I'm 22.
and then we're all 20.
I was like, are you gonna get arrested for serving beer to minors?
Well, I'll ask the old man then. When you started playing around, coming from some far away, but when you started touring around, were there any stories like that? Like when you guys started playing in the previous band and all that, you got any good stories about like, shit, we had a show set up and we couldn't get in because we were underage?
Yeah, actually. When we were in Bend the first time, it was about 6 or 7 years ago in Oregon, just random town. It was a 21 and up show, and we had to wait outside until it was our turn. And our fans couldn't get in. We had some fans, but they were like outside, and they had to watch us through the window.
Yeah.
And we played to absolutely no one.
That's funny.
So that was cool. It's stuff like that. And it's actually still happening. Like when we went through Portland a couple months ago, these guys weren't allowed backstage because Oregon has
We weren't allowed
weird-
inside the venue.
They weren't allowed inside the venue until we played, and it was like a big show. We were touring with Waves and Twin Peaks, and we had to literally, our green room was outside. I could go in, but I didn't want to.
It's weird because anymore, like you would think like they could do the X's on the hand or something to just like let people in.
Also, I
so
think it was easier for us to drink outside.
Yeah.
Because we just set up chairs in a circle and had some beers out there.
Yeah,
We didn't have any security guards there. So.
Yeah.
Do you make it is it a point in the band to like want to play all ages shows? Do you not care?
Yeah.
50-50? How do
Our
you?
booking agent primarily books only all age shows. So every once in a while there'll be like an 18 up or 16
That's in
up.
like Canada.
But we try. I mean, I don't know. It sucks when we couldn't go to shows.
Yeah.
So we get it.
It's honestly the right thing to do because at the end of the day, you want younger people getting introduced to going to live shows.
And
Yeah,
also
right.
like
We want to be a
what
gateway drug.
25-year-old
Yeah.
is drawn to our
Exactly.
music more than a 16-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
Like, our music speaks to young people, and so when young people can't come see it, it's dumb.
I think
Yeah,
it speaks
right.
to all people, but it's just primarily with young people.
Yeah,
They need to be able to
right.
express themselves and like go crazy.
Well, I was wondering because you all grew up around Oakland.
Yeah.
We went to high school
We're all
together.
neighbors.
So I know I was in a band, but obviously I'm older. But I mean, growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, I had to figure out how to sneak into shows, sneak your friends into shows,
Yeah.
keep quiet in the fucking back. If you're gonna have a beer, you gotta sneak it in the bathroom, and that kind of stuff. And then when we started touring and I would go to the West Coast, especially around Oakland, San Francisco area, there were definitely, already a couple generations of kids who grew up with all ages clubs being a pretty standard thing. So was that not too hard when you were younger to be able to see shows? Or?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. We had 924 Gilman and
Yeah.
1234 Go, which is a record store.
I know
In
clubs
between
without
those two.
numbers.
Too many numbers. But between those two, like all our favorite bands went to those two venues. So
And think about like all the small theaters we have in San Francisco and
Yeah.
in Oakland, like Fox Theater,
The Warfield, the
Warfield,
film.
Uptown,
Canyon.
when we were growing up.
yeah. So it's just kind of like there's.
So again, not to dwell on the past, and we'll jump over. But with Emily's Army, I mean, some of you guys were in that, 3 of you at least.
Yeah.
When that was going, it seemed like you jumped kind of. Did you kind of leapfrog that whole world into playing the Warped Tour stuff, or what I mean? Did you feel like now you're kind of learning more about that world with this band? Or no?
in a way, I think it's a little bit of both. I think we're revisiting that world. We spent a lot of time in it because we were Emily's Army for a long time, and so we played like a bunch of different all ages clubs in Oakland, Berkeley, for the first 5 years of Emily's Army, and then we went to Warped Tour. We did a bunch of Warped Tour stuff, and between Warped Tours we had school, so it was just like those were the shows we were playing.
It was like kind of like some kids went to summer camp between the ages 14 and 18.
Yeah.
You did the Warped Tour.
It's like summer camp.
Yeah, I mean with like now EDM, but
Yeah, right.
Warped
It's more of
Tour
that,
is-
right?
It's a little
Yeah.
strange right now.
yeah.
Plus, you guys don't have anywhere near enough mascara, or at least right now.
Oh,
The Warped Tour.
Yeah, I think I saw some weird shit on the Warped Tour.
Well, what do you think about that in general, as far as like just from your vantage point? Because without sitting there and saying what's great or bad about Warped Tour,
Yeah.
how it changes, blah blah. Because that happens at festivals and whatever.
Well-
But how do you feel? Would you rather play like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 1,000 kids outside, or would you rather play to 400 kids at 10 o'clock at night in a club or an all ages space? You know what I mean? Is that a fair question to ask?
What's hard is that Warped Tour has just changed so much. So it's like, it's the idea of it's really cool. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to tour like every state? But then, like, it's just so hard that there's an EDM stage now.
Yeah.
That's not Warped Tour.
Yeah. Well,
There's festivals for that.
yeah, right. That's true. That is true.
And then you have like the kind of the charade of like these metal bands or whatever that cycle through each year.
To go back to that question though, like we love playing in clubs, but yeah, we like playing in front of 1,000 people. Like we do, and even if they haven't seen us or heard of us before, we generally do like very well when it's a new crowd, just because we've been doing this for a long time, and that's like
It's kind of what we've been
it's
doing
like
for
our
the last year.
specialty is like trying to win over crowds. So if it was, yeah, I think I would choose 1,000 kids because that means 600 more people.
Your specialty is winning over a crowd. So how do you win over a crowd?
Well, I mean, the last year
about
we've
good
only
songs.
had 2 songs
That's a good
out.
idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we haven't had that many songs out in the last since we've been Swmrs. We have 3 songs out, and we've been touring a lot. We went on tour with Waves a while back. We went on tour with Rise Against, like during our name change, and that was in Europe. And we were, I mean, that was the hardest tour of all.
When was that?
It was in November 2014,
Okay.
and
You were already Swimmers.
that was
changed
when
it
we
the
decided.
day before the tour started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what happened was like our first show, we didn't realize it was also with Pennywise. It was with some like kind of hardcore fans, and we were too soft for them, and we got booed one day, like the first day of tour, and then by the end of the tour, we figured out a way to win everyone over. By the end
This
of the
was in
tour,
Europe?
yeah, by the end of the tour, we like it was Sweden and stuff. We were getting pits and like
Cool.
that kind of stuff, and totally. So like we've been doing that kind of stuff for a long time. So yeah, I think I would choose. 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, it went from like trying to win over a couple hundred kids at a club like to winning over like 13,000 people
In Frankfurt.
Yeah, German Pennywise fans are going to boo you.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully the only crowd we got booed out was in England, so.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
not so bad. They
No.
boo it themselves.
Yeah.
They pipe bands, and 2 weeks later, it's,
Yeah.
But well, the music you're doing too, shifting a little bit.
Music's
Scragglier,
definitely
and I don't know what words critic here wants to use, but different from Emily's Army into something a little scragglier, better, edgier, whatever. Well, hopefully for your,
It's a little
your
bit,
sake,
a
but
little bit edgier too.
right. So, but that live-wise, it's not anthemic. It's not the simple, not putting it in, but you know what I mean. It's not arena-style anthemic kind of pop kind of thing or whatever. So it is taking a chance, right? Going to bigger crowds, all of a sudden you're playing that because of a previous name, and now you're playing this kind of scragglier music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so changing our music was actually had a lot to do with that tour. That tour we were playing like I said, like softer stuff.
Yeah.
And then by the third show we decided we were cutting our set by 10 minutes, and we were gonna play harder stuff. And then because we were doing that so much, we just ended up writing a lot of more stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now our music can definitely fit.
And that was actually,
thing.
I'm going to attribute that to Fletcher
Yeah.
from Pennywise.
Oh my god.
He pulled us aside after like our third show, and he was like, "Fuck do you guys think you're doing up there?"
It was so scary.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, "Look, band meeting.
He was wasted.
Yeah.
And
No.
Yeah.
This is also right after we heard him say, "I brought punk rock to America."
yeah. And he was just like, "Look, you guys have beer on your rider?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Get some beer."
Okay, that's actually a pretty good point. But
Then he's like, "Play fast, tell the crowd like,
Fuck off.
fuck off."
he's like the CEO of punk. He's like, these are the rules. Follow them.
But it helped us.
It helped.
Well, there is a certain thing where a tour like that will kick your ass a little bit to just go, okay, we got to get through this. Let's do this. Opening is kind of cool that way. You can do fucking 20, 30 minutes, get the hell out.
Yeah.
Well, what's cool is like doing that tour and like kind of, growing some hair on our chest and then going and playing Burgerama after that.
Yeah.
Because then you see all these
And
bands.
shaving the hair off your chest?
and then like playing Burgerama and being like, okay, like we can easily play to like a crowd of a couple hundred people.
That don't know who we are.
Yeah.
And we destroyed that show.
Right.
We're like, it was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He fucking pulled you aside and
Oh my
gave you a
god.
little talk
It
like
was
a grandpa
awesome.
or something?
It was so funny.
It was great.
And then he told us
Did you have
about,
to like bite your lip and not laugh while
Yeah,
you
oh my
were
god. Nope.
No, say it.
He also like he'd be in the room and he had like this glass of like he had a cup of
It was,
vodka and then he just like
He'd take a
had
whole
giant
orange and he would just crush the orange. One
His,
hand.
his hand was like the size of our
He'd be
head.
telling us stories about how he got tased like 6 times until he could go down.
He
Like,
set a
he's
cop car on fire.
Yeah, he's like, look,
Cocaine is amazing.
I'm 33 years old. I'll still fucking beat up a cop. Like, I'm
Yeah.
for you.
He's like, when I was your age, I already been to jail twice and had 3 felonies.
it's like at this point, like I'm gonna eat a fucking hot dog. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Eat a hot dog. Have a
Michael
fucking beer.
Pollan, fuck you. Ben Weasel, fuck you.
That's Fletcher.
Wow, that is hilarious. Well, so you learned some things from him, I guess.
Yeah, that's
You
awesome.
gonna rush right out to tour with Pennywise again?
Actually, they
I
were
was so down.
It was so cool to us. Like
Yeah,
they let us come watch movies in their bus.
I don't know if we'd have much crossover, but at the end of the day, it's more people, like I said. So whoever
I think too. I think that I would like to think that younger crowds, and at these days younger could mean under 30 even, who grew up with being okay with different kinds of music and having pop stars that, whatever, Taylor Swift hanging around at the back of a Black Lips show or something. You know what I mean? Like you hear these weird, I don't know if that ever happened, probably not. But and I think people are hopefully, ideally, a little more open-minded if they can presumably choose from any kind of music they want all the time, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, whether that happens that way or not, I don't know. It certainly doesn't have to be EDM crowds. I think the EDM crowds are.
I think Diplo's crowd would be down with us.
Yeah.
Diplo, Shlomo.
Elmo. Tickle me, Elmo.
I think we'd do well with like Flying Lotus's crowd.
I just like how there's Zed and there's Zed is dead.
Yeah, totally unrelated.
Well, speaking of names, did you, and again, not to do, but you really felt the need to change the name because of the sound and all that, and one different member, obviously, right?
Yeah. Well, also Max went from playing bass to playing guitar, and I mean, it was just kind of, it was kind of like like I was saying, like it was a high school like
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
thing, and then we're like, you know what, like we actually really enjoy playing music, and if we want to take it seriously and go to the next level, then we gotta change everything.
And did you know there was another band called Swmrs at the time?
No.
Is that something that's come up?
We didn't do it.
Yeah, we were.
Is that why you took the vowels out of the name?
No, at that point we were like, well, we're sorry for them.
We took the vowels out of the name because every time you type Swmrs in on Google,
It's like
you get,
Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Now we're the first thing that comes up, and we're definitely like.
You really
The
should
bigger
name the next
Swmrs.
record Phelps. That way, really confusing every time. Speaking of the newest record, Drive North, what, if you want to tell us about the recording of it, I kind of assume how you picked Zach to produce it from Fiddler, but if you guys want to talk about that and all, how the recording went, blah, 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 anything about making the new record.
Zach in general he's misunderstood because a lot of people think that we would want to work with him because we would want to sound like Fiddler, and the last thing he wanted to do with us was make us sound like Fiddler. So our record actually, it's more of like a showcase of his talents as a producer rather than just like what people know him as Fiddler.
And also, people think that he's like this fun-loving guy and stuff.
He is.
No, I don't know. He would like paddle us.
No, he would not.
Did he take you aside and go, when I was your age?
Well, I mean, we get texts at 4 a.m. Get your ass to the studio right now.
Yeah.
I just fucking killed it. And
Yeah.
we're like, what? We show up to the studio and you have like a new mix for us. And we're like, whoa. And he's like, God, you guys keep me up too late. What the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, I think the whole recording process, I mean, it only took 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, we managed to get a cohesive 12-song album. Like, I don't know how we did it. It's kind of a blur.
Where did you record? Was it analog, digital?
It was digital, home studio.
That's cool.
Well, sort
Really
of home
small.
studio. It's
Probably
like
the size of this room.
yeah, so it's not a home studio. It's like a nice studio, but it's tiny, and it's like a new, like just a private
We were
thing.
the first band that ever recorded that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep. So we were
Was
kind
it
of
his
testing.
studio?
No.
No, it's a studio. It's like connected to the record store that we hang out at.
Oh,
in
cool.
Oakland. So
And it's live-in, so he was living it. That's why he would text us at like 4 a.m. because it was almost might have not been the best thing because he like has an addictive personality and like that it is music like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he just he'd be going till like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't sleep last night, man.
Right. So did you go in and sort of like your classic, like record the basic tracks, go back over to overdub? So were you able to really kind of record all together?
No, we did one song at a time.
one song at a time, and he was really hands-on. Everybody like on deck for it. Like it was kind of like I'd go in and do drums, but then I might have to go back in and like edit it, like depending on what ended up formulating with the guitars and bass. And
You'll hear it. The 3 songs we've released are the simplest songs on the record.
yeah, there's some like we kind of released the most accessible.
It was funny because I think it was like right around the time he was becoming actually good friends with Diplo, and so he was like, I'm gonna start like making electronic music.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, the guy also.
So he was engineer too. He wasn't just
Oh, he was
first
everything.
stance are going, do it again.
Oh no,
No,
he
he's
wasn't
like-
Dan
oh,
Auerbach.
yeah.
He was.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was first off an engineer. He came to America from. He came to the mainland from Hawaii, and he was an engineer at a
Shoots
studio in
ground.
LA, and actually worked with Fun. So like he worked as an engineer on some of the Fun records, and then he's also just. I don't know, he's kind of crazy, like obsessive over things.
Yeah.
So I mean, like he would straight up be with his little acupuncture rug, just working as hard as he could.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's like honestly like a great friend of ours now. After that whole
Well,
thing.
when you had played with them before, obviously a few times. Right?
Never played with them.
I thought you did.
We've
We
been at the
played
same festivals.
Oh,
Beach
okay.
God, Burgerama.
Oh, okay.
And that's when he decided to work with us, when he saw us play
Right.
at Burgerama.
Is Burger gonna do anything? Are they doing your cassette? Can I
Yeah.
assume?
Yeah. But other than that, we're self-producing or self-releasing our record.
Yeah. Now, how did you decide on that? Blah blah.
We kind of just decided. Look, it's 2016,
Mhm.
and at this point, we can do it.
Honestly, we saw Chance the Rapper releasing
Yeah.
stuff by himself. And like, Chance the Rapper is huge, and he can do it all by himself. And I mean, that's not to give him the credit because he's like super talented, but we just thought, you know, if rap artists can do it, we can do it because it's like you said, it's 2016. It's like
And granted, it's a lot of work, especially on our
a lot
management.
more work than you thought.
But like we're all young. We're ready to go for it. And at this point, like we're not against labels. We just don't want one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about Uncool is the name of the label for
Yeah.
all you Periscopers out there. There's an Uncool Fest coming up. Is that correct? Did you put that together? Any details on that?
You can ask Joey about that.
Yeah,
Joey, what about this Uncool Fest?
well, we all took part in booking it, but we asked some of our friends who run Gilman if we could block out a weekend, and then we just asked our friends' bands to play.
Cool.
We thought it was like, it's super easy and super fun, and why not do that? I mean, there's so many festivals going on, why not start your own?
Yeah. I think, not to go off on Warped Tour anymore, but I think just one of the reasons they can change and do weird shit that doesn't seem to make sense to me is just like, to their credit, they've been around fucking forever. And people still fucking go. And it's like this weird rite of passage thing.
Like, I think we would do Warped Tour, but we would do it if like no parents, Fiddler.
Yeah, if we had like our own
Pangea,
our own stage with like all those bands, that would be awesome.
Really fun.
But that's also kind of like very rare.
I think too, like I was in a band and that decision to do it or not was always like, well, if you have your own sort of thing, you could start playing your own venues you've already toured, or go on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Or whatever,
In the
you know,
blazing
And like
hot.
bring your merch out on a cart
tent.
and stay at the tent all day trying to get people.
But
to
everyone
the
says you're going to
stage.
sell more, and that's not always the case.
It was tough, but it was the best learning experience we could
Right,
have.
of course, yeah. The Drive North tattoo thing on the cover of the album. Who is that? Is it real? Is it Photoshop? What's
It's
the
real.
It's real.
It's real.
Whose is it?
Joey's friend.
Yeah, it's my friend Gabby. I was like, she's from Oakland, and we happened to meet in New York, and I was talking to her, and I was like, yeah, we're calling a record Drive North, and I was like, we want someone to get that tattooed. She's like, oh, I get that tattooed. I was like, really? On your lip? And she's like, why not? I was like, I'll pay for it. And she goes, okay.
Well, where did the title come from? Did you tell her where the title came from before she got the tattoo?
It's kind of about like, a lot of people think we're from LA because we were like very lucky to have been accepted into this scene. It's very visible, and so it's kind of about creating your own identity wherever you're from and sending the message that it's like that it's cool to be where you're from, even if you're not from LA, or uncool, because there's only so much you can do with an LA band, because a lot of times they just want to stay in LA forever, and that's not what we're about. We want to play
there are
music for
also
everybody.
awesome LA bands. We're friends with a lot of them, and they're doing awesome things. It's more just like we just didn't want to be we just wanted to be known that we were from Oakland.
Also, we just like Oakland better.
Yeah,
Raiders, A's, Warriors.
I mean, I grew up in Cleveland, then moved to New York, so believe me, there's all kinds of West Coast bias shit that you grow up with, and I think punk started in '72 in Cleveland, that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, but I think you learn when you travel. It's like a lot of bands in LA, you can kind of survive because LA's so fucking huge, and then you can just go play in San Diego or maybe over to Vegas, and before you know it, you play for thousands of people, and you haven't even left your own state or whatever, and then you can go up to San Francisco too, and that's all in one state. So whereas if you were a band from Mississippi or something, you got to drive a lot just to be able to play around people. So I kind of get why LA bands sometimes just stay there. Or maybe they go to Japan once in a while or something.
That's what we need to do.
Is that the plan for 2016?
That's what we need to do. I mean, look at us.
I want to move to Japan.
I feel like we would do great just by like walking around.
It's fucking weird. It's like every person is Japanese. It's just that's how American you are when you go to Japan. It's like every single person here is Japanese.
That's not good Japanese, actually.
I used to learn Japanese.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna be the translator when we
All
get there.
right. It's really fun. It's really fun. But so what are the plans for 2016 as far as like obviously touring more or whatever? But
we're touring the whole time.
overseas too. And,
Yeah. Well, it's not really announced. Also, we don't know when specifically we're going places. But I think we're gonna go to Europe like a bunch, and then I think hopefully we get to go somewhere besides Europe and America. Ideally, it would be Japan or Central or South America.
Did you go down to Hawaii yet? You must have connections in Hawaii.
Hawaii.
I mean, we're obsessed with The Rock, and he's from Hawaii, so.
Ideally, we would have The Rock introducing us to Hawaii.
You could probably get him in if you make a video, I'm sure you could.
Oh my god.
We met his niece. And we were so, like, we fangirled so hard, and it was just his niece, She was like, he's
just his niece, not really The Rock, but it was nice to meet the niece.
We freaked out and just like, guys, it's just my uncle.
Are you talking about Dwayne?
So, shit, what was I gonna say? I gotta ask about this Yves Saint Laurent spring summer thing. How did that happen? Was somebody from that company really at the that Burgerama? That's hilarious. That's a very California story, by the way. It's not much more California. That would never happen in Cleveland. But how did this come about? And did you have any trepidation at all about doing it?
No.
They made a song for it.
We were so. I mean, yeah. What happened was we played Burgerama, and actually the people from Saint Laurent like had been going there for at least a couple of years at this point because they pick their models from the crowd.
Oh, crazy!
They don't like hire normal models. They like hire street kids from Burgerama because they want like the authentic thing.
Right.
And they like happened to catch our set and were really into it. I had blue hair at the time, and Cole had his green hair, and like they just saw, and like I said, we kicked ass that day. So like they really were into it, and then a week later they asked us to write a song, and then
we got really drunk and wrote a 17-minute song.
Yeah, and then they asked us, Cole and I, to like walk in the show. And that was totally an experience.
Yeah, where was it at?
In Paris.
Jesus, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
fly over you. What did?
They flew our whole crew. They flew Joey and our merch guy.
That's hilarious.
Taifa.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like an awesome experience. And no, we didn't really hesitate at all because it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It's
Did you
great
keep
for
the
us.
clothes?
They sent us a couple things of clothes. I mean, it would be cool if they had sent us all some clothes. And they didn't really give Joey and Seb enough love, in my opinion. But like, I don't know. Maybe they'll
No,
get
I mean,
some
honestly,
kind of
they've been super cool to us.
And
we
we're
did
playing-
that, and then like we're also playing like a show at the Palladium for them February 10th.
Yeah, and that's gonna be a blast. And yeah, they've only done cool things for us.
But how was it backstage at a Runway show? Like, was it just
It's
weird?
a bunch
Honestly-
it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, no, the only cool people were the five. Like
There were two cool people
No.
I met, Liam Gallagher and.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, when I saw Lenny Kravitz, I was like, whoa.
the five girls.
I've seen the
that
big
we
one.
met, the five girls that we met, just like that we're friends with now, were like super cool because they're just like they're like professional models and they're like driven and stuff. But honestly, a bunch of the guys kind of sucked ass. Like,
Yeah, because they're all street cast, and
they're all
just,
like
kids from Orange County.
everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm in a band. Like I'm in a band too. Oh, like I'm like yeah, you should check.
You should
out
have
my
mixed
band.
it this way.
You should have mixed it this way. It's like,
Try
dude,
something out of this
we
song.
try. We're the ones who got
Really?
fucking picked to do this. Not
These are
you.
Orange County guys?
Also, there's
Okay, that is a West Coast bias. I'll
Yeah.
stick with it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's this guy, I'm not gonna name any names. We're standing backstage and I go to introduce myself, you know, trying to be respectful. And he's like, what hotel you staying at? I'm like, I don't know how to even say it. And so I say it, and then he's like, oh, I'm staying where they put the talent.
You're not at the Four Seasons.
Isn't it amazing to think in 2016 there's people that still say things like
The worst part
Like, it
was
seems like
absurd,
that's
yeah.
a joke.
The
Like,
worst
that's what
part
people
was-
have been joking about since the 80s. You
Yeah.
The
know?
worst part was that guy wasn't even there for modeling. He was there because he was in a band.
Definitely not.
He was definitely not
So they were picking other band dudes to be in this runway
No,
show.
they were just there
Oh,
to
the
watch.
crowd.
'Cause
Oh,
they,
the
crowd.
They've done
Oh,
stuff
okay, okay.
previously.
But they were there and they're
But
telling
just a
you how
lot
to
of
mix the
people
song.
there,
That's
it
hilarious.
sucks because like the cool people, it's like Hetty's awesome. Everyone who works for Hetty's awesome. They're super cool to us. And then like the girl models. And
Julia
that's,
coming from Sunflower Beans.
yeah, Sunflower
Around.
Beans, like
yeah.
Julia's great. It's like they're
Yeah,
so cool.
they played at the old CMJ offices. Like,
Yeah, they played like a ton of shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then other than that, it was like the guys kind of sucked.
Did you have to learn how to do that fierce walking deal?
Yeah, we
From-
spent like 3
Oh, the heel
hours.
was too high. I hate when the heel.
We spent like 3 hours learning how to walk.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they pulled you aside and said, "When I was your age, I was walking." No.
Yeah.
And finally, Harry Dean Stanton. I assume you first heard of him through Repo Man, but
No,
no,
actually.
yeah, really? Let's hear it.
No, it was well, I think
So let's-
somebody had sent me an interview of his before I really knew. I had seen like Pretty in Pink,
Oh right.
where he's the dad.
He's a fucking genius in
Yeah.
anything he's
Yeah.
yeah, like everything.
Yeah.
Even on that new show he's on. It's not anymore. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Kid show.
Yeah, I did. Like we just really got into his interviews and like his philosophy before we'd even really seen many of his movies, and so we're like, who is this guy? This is so cool. He has such a positive take on existentialism.
Right,
It's,
right.
it's
Yeah,
really warming, you know.
His number one thing that he remembers is that "Row, row, row your boat" little lullaby song, because the last line. He's obsessed with the last line. Life is but a dream.
Yeah, right.
And seriously, in like so many interviews he's talked about, I was like, damn, like I'm I'm learning so much from you, man.
Also, it's
Oddly, he was the one backstage who told you he was staying at the hotel with the talents.
yeah.
Strange, you know, but
His face looks pretty incredible too.
yeah.
He like calls out people.
Oh
and
my
talks
God,
a lot
yeah.
of shit.
And he's recently been doing a couple more little offhand little interviews and things, and because he's like pretty up there now. He
Yeah.
was a little sick for a while, I think, too, right? And he was in that show. I'm totally forgetting that show that's based in a hospital or like a convalescent home. He was just in a really funny show. Forgetting the name, but and he was hilarious. He played this old guy who'd come in and have sex with his agent. It's fucking hilarious. But and on that note, that's about it. Unless you guys want to tell us any more about the album or again what's going on.
Do you guys
Oh, yeah,
have
she's got
any
questions.
like crazy fan stories or anything?
Yeah, recently we got a note that was sent to Joey, and it was encrypted. Seriously, it was encrypted in alien code. It was a bunch of random sentences with parts of it underlined and highlighted, but it was like letters that were highlighted, and it was like the sentences like, okay, the sun is coming up at this time. Chocolate is a good flavor. Wood is definitely like the best feeling, and it was like I was just like, what the fuck? And this was an old lady, sent this to Joey.
She gave it to you at the show?
She's
or-
like, send this to Joey. Don't look at it.
He was pretty sick.
Wait, how do you know she's an old lady? Did she give it to
She
you?
gave it to me.
Oh.
She gave it to me, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've just touched something evil." Like I don't know. So Stevie and I walked outside and burned it.
We actually had to splash holy water on that. So
Yeah, I had to be exercised.
That's hilarious. I don't know. I mean, we just kind of do cool. Like our fans are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, they all just kind of
Yeah.
want to hang
Oh,
out.
it's super cool. Super nice.
I gotta ask this because I always ask about Midwest shit. But any stories from Midwest shows that stuck out, or any towns you particularly hated or
The
liked?
monsoon.
Ohio, actually, Cleveland.
Really? Did it go good, bad?
Grog Shop. We played the Grog
Oh,
Shop.
that's a good
We
place.
played the Grog Shop to 7 people last time we were
I
there,
believe it.
but we've sold 30 pre-sale tickets for our next show, which means we'll probably get a walk up to it. We'll
Do you know where
hopefully
that's
get like
at?
100
Do you
kids.
remember where?
I think it's the Grog Shop.
It's a Grog Shop.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Eric's
That's
from
the thing-
Cleveland.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing with touring is just it doesn't matter how much you're known in your town. You might end up in Marseille one day, and no one's gonna be there. So and that's cool because when the hell else were you gonna be in Cleveland, sitting at a club in the middle of a Wednesday night? Why not? Right? Have fucking fun.
Honestly, I really like the Midwest. I like
Me too.
my mom's from
Midwest is
Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's a good town.
Yeah, so I really, my family lives there, so I really like Minneapolis.
I'm gonna throw this out there, but there's a replacements biography coming out in a couple of months,
Really?
and he sent me a galley, a pre-copy. It's really good. You should read it about the whole playing to the nobody crowds and deciding when do you let these songs come out that are a little different and not what your friends or fans would expect, and are you okay with that? It's really good. It's
When does it
really
come out?
researched. Actually interviewed the band. It's I
whoa.
think it comes out in March or something, maybe February.
It's an amazing band.
Yeah, and it's a good one to
One of
read
my
about that
favorites.
kind of stuff. But Minneapolis,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun stories about that town.
There's a lot of cool music that comes from that.
Yeah, for sure. Very Midwest. Rainy, sad basement for 4 months while it's cloudy. On that note, the sunny Swmrs, everybody. Let's give them a hand. Thanks for coming out, fellas.
People are like dying to ask you questions.
Okay, do you want to take a couple? Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right.
Parents
Somebody's
do.
asking, how do they meet you after the shows?
Just comes
Would
out.
you come up to the
Come
stage?
say hi.
That is way too brazen. We won't take that question. That's really
Anybody else?
Yeah, just come say hi.
Yeah.
Just come say hi.
Will you come to Ireland?
Yeah, probably.
I got
Yeah.
my heart broken in Ireland one time.
Oh, did you?
I recently read there was a survey of women across the globe. The sexiest men and Irish men came out number 1. I would not have guessed. Isn't that strange? Yeah, isn't that weird? Francis,
Hey, they got Bono, man.
That's what I think of sexy.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question.
Are you guys going to Italy?
Oh yeah, swimmers in Italy, that's a thing. Also
Probably.
swimmers in Spain, that's a thing too.
I've never
Yeah,
seen it.
I think we're gonna try to come to both. It's not really our part of the job to decide where we go.
This guy's like, I want a beer. What do you mean you don't decide? You go push it aside.
I want to go to
like-
Russia and I want to go to Japan.
Yeah, I'd like to go to the
That's
Eastern
my
Europe
dream.
stuff.
I want to go to Colombia.
I want to go to Poland. I
Belize or
want to go to Poland.
Columbia's just up like a mile or so.
And someone really wants to know, she's asked this like 3 times. Are you coming to New York for Governor's Ball?
No, they didn't ask us. But maybe
Well,
next time.
I don't know.
Well, just like as fans.
No.
I mean, I want to say the Strokes are probably my favorite band of all time. So.
Okay.
That's a good question. Quick, favorite band of all time?
Oh no.
Favorite band of all time?
Replacements.
Credence.
Nice.
Your studio.
Nice. Well, all right. I need to hear about them in that replacement book too.
What'd you
I
say?
saw both of them to age myself. Next question.
Anybody else? Any questions?
No questions
Paris,
left?
Texas, greatest film of all time.
Oh, are you coming to Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, late March.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody wants you to go to Disney World with her in Atlanta.
We're gonna be in Florida for
We play
like
6
8
shows
days.
in Florida.
There's also an old woman asking about chocolate. I don't know what that is. All right, cut. That's it. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Paris, Texas.